Am I the idiot for kicking out of the house my husband's aunt who criticized my bond with my cat after having a baby? Hey everyone, I find myself in need of some judgment since my family is divided and I still think I'm not the idiot. I'm looking for your honest opinions to help me assess if I was in the wrong here. I'm a woman in my late 20s, and I recently became a mother. I have been absolutely loving every aspect of motherhood. Alongside my newfound role as a mom, I have a cherished cat whom I have always shared a deep bond with. Even after the arrival of my baby, I have made it a point to continue involving my cat in our family life. We still go on little walks together around the garden, just the two of us, and I make sure to spend quality time snuggling and bonding with her. I also love how much my girl loves and cares for the baby. During a visit from my husband's family, his aunt decided to share their unsolicited opinion with me. It was kinda out of the blue. My cat is shy with people, so she was in my room looking through the window. When she wants my attention, she makes a particular meow. Husband told me and I went to check on her. After I came back, his aunt started going on about how having a cat around my baby could potentially be dangerous and implied that I should shift my focus away from my cat. She said it was not natural and that I should just focus on the baby. A cat is a cat. I told her to get out of my house now. She was astonished and I told her it is extremely rude to go to other people's houses and start to criticize how they live their lives, especially when we barely have a relationship. I have seen the woman 3 times in my life. One of them was the wedding. She and her sister got out. My husband told me I was right, but I was rude and I could have said that in a better way. My sister-in-law, who is present, thinks I overreacted. I told my best friend and she's with me, but she's also a cat lover, so if it counts. So Reddit, am I the idiot? Edit, I agree with y'all, I overreacted. I'm not going to try and justify myself. I have to learn better coping skills for these situations, and that's on top of my list when I go back to therapy in 3 weeks, just taking a break after labor, adjusting to baby and home, etc. I would also like to say I don't feel like apologizing, but I will do it even though I will make clear she was out of line. I must say this woman is a busybody and overstayed her welcome, but I was rude and I admit if. Cat and baby get along great. Cat is protective and gentle towards the baby and we have had 0 issues. On the other hand, I got a DM saying I should give my baby up for adoption, like WTF? That's an overreaction, lol, thanks y'all for the feedback. Everyone sucks here. She was rude. You may have overreacted though. Still, you're a new mom, probably exhausted, and new moms got all kinds of poop opinions thrown at them. In the big scheme of things, if you don't care about the relationship with this person, not really knowing them and all, just move on. Not the idiot, it's exhausting dealing with elitists. Cats are my babies too, and I have a grown human as well. They are his babies too. I mean, she wants you to throw your cat in a ditch because she doesn't like them? Not the idiot, but TBH, I would probably have just told her to mind her own business and just kick her out if it escalated. She's wrong, and I would imagine you'd have needed to kick her out anyway, because people that are rude usually won't take anyone standing up to them. But ideally, you could have let her prove herself that mean rather than risking her playing the martyr. Still not the idiot though. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for refusing to attend my sister's wedding? My 25F, GF, 25F, and I have been dating for almost 4 years. Recently my GF was over for the day because there was an unplanned outage in her neighborhood, and she needed to work from my place. Me and my mom told my GF she could just use my sister's 27F desk in her room since my sister was at work in the office. I didn't think this was a big deal, it's just a table, but later received a message from her fiancé in our group chat letting me and my GF know how extremely upset my sister is that my GF was in her room without permission. My GF messaged my sister back directly and apologized for what happened. GF didn't think it was a big deal either since my mom said it was fine to use the desk, but she said she understands why my sister got mad since it was in her room, her personal space. My sister got into a major fight with my mom and started yelling at the top of her lungs about this. Mom is saying we did nothing wrong as this is my mom's house, and my sister doesn't pay rent or contribute in any other way. Sister's fiancé, 27M, called my mom about this too and started yelling at my mom and being extremely rude and disrespectful. I do not understand why she got her fiancé involved, as this has nothing to do with him. But based on what's happened, my GF doesn't want to attend my sister's wedding in July. She feels uncomfortable and awkward since things are heated and my sister and her fiancé are being so hostile. I don't think my sister cares if my GF doesn't attend, but us siding with my GF is upsetting my sister more. I told my sister I'm not attending either, and she can have the wedding without us. My mom is with me on this, if she doesn't stop overreacting. My GF said sorry, and I think she and her fiancé should also apologize for overreacting and especially for being disrespectful to my mom. ETA. It just didn't occur to me to call or text my sister. Letting someone use a table seemed like such a small thing. Maybe that's bad judgment on my part. I have texted my sister an apology asking permission, but she hasn't responded. Honestly, I still think she overreacted by behaving like my GF ransacked her room or snooped through her things when she was there to work. Why we wanted the room specifically, we just thought it best if my GF could have a proper desk. And we both still live at home. ETA number 2, more context on why my GF doesn't want to go to the wedding. My GF has expressed to me that she finds it hard to connect with my sister, and she has the feeling that my sister never liked her from the start. My sis is someone who is difficult to get along with, as she's easily triggered and moody. Given this fiasco, GF just feels more comfortable not going. She doesn't want to be there if she's not welcome and if she's only tolerated because she happens to be dating me. In addition, my sister has not acknowledged my GF's apology, so as it stands, things are not okay between us. Not the idiot. Maybe your mom is a little? Your girlfriend could have sat at any table in the house. I don't see why she needed to be in your sister's room. I would have sided with your sister, but having a total meltdown and starting a screaming match over this is ridiculous. If things escalated to the point where your mom won't attend her daughter's wedding? Sister was way out of line. Everyone sucks here. Don't invade personal space like that, and you and your mom need to apologize and internalize that this was a serious disrespect. Your mom seems to need to learn that her daughter is an adult with rights and feelings, but your sister should at some point let this go with a stern. Don't ever do it again. Especially against your GF who didn't know any better. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for not backing up my husband when he grounded our daughter? Background: our daughter, 10, has a condition known as ARFID, avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. She also has anxiety and ADHD and is a high-maintenance child. She is in therapy and on meds, but the food issue has not gotten better. She has panic attacks when you ask her to eat something new, and before someone says not to feed her, and she will eventually eat. That doesn't work. She will just not eat all day. This is an actual psychiatric disorder. My husband made a deal with her recently. If she tries any food he asks her to for 2 weeks, she can get a new kitten. This is a bet that he won't lose. Her anxiety and fear over food is too great. But she did try a few new foods. But then one will trigger her anxiety, and she will panic and then have to start over. I am fine with this, even though I had no input into the deal. The furthest she made it was 2.5 days, and then he asked her to try oatmeal, which she did, but then spit it out and he wouldn't let it count if she didn't swallow it. She couldn't bring herself to take another bite. I was iffy about that, but it was his deal with her, so his rules. Today he asked her to try a peanut which she has tried before and hates. She freaked out because she already knew she couldn't stand the texture and was afraid she would puke. Instead of starting over, today he threatened to ground her. She was already in panic mode and melted down. I was upstairs work from home, and she ran up to me in tears. I hadn't heard all of what happened downstairs, so thought she must have yelled at her dad or been rude. She said no, it was just that she wouldn't try the peanut. I don't remember exactly what I said, but basically I didn't think grounding was fair in this case if her side of the story was accurate. Well, this pissed my hubby off, and even though he confirmed that it was only because of her refusal, he started yelling at me for not backing him up, because we have to be a team. I don't feel like him unilaterally deciding she is grounded is a team to begin with. I don't think I should have to back him up when I disagree with him. I feel I should stick up for my daughter. I don't agree with grounding/yelling about the food issues, because it never works, only making the situation worse. It's going to make it a negative experience in her mind, and she will never like any food that she's made to try that way. So, am I the idiot for agreeing with my daughter that her dad wasn't being fair? She is still grounded at this point. I didn't undo it. If it makes a difference, he did agree after our argument that I made valid points, but thinks I should have agreed with him in front of her and then discussed it with him later. Which wouldn't have made a difference. He wouldn't have reversed it because then she wouldn't respect him for going back on his word. Of course, yelling at me for not backing him up was also done in front of our daughter. Not the idiot, and you need to unground her. It is ridiculous that he thinks it's okay to ground someone just for not eating something he knows she doesn't like. This isn't how you get kids to try new things, especially with an eating disorder like this. Also, I know you don't have to agree with him in front of her if you don't agree with it. A team requires communication and deciding things together, not, "Oh, I've made a bet with our daughter and you don't get a say in the matter, but if there's a fight you have to pick my side even if I'm wrong." You're the idiot. Why is she being grounded for having a disorder? Why is your husband forcing her to try foods he knows she cannot eat without puking? He is intentionally setting her up to lose. Both you and your husband are setting your child up for a whole baggage of issues when she gets to be an adult. Like, why aren't you standing up for your daughter instead of enforcing your husband's stupid idea to get her over her disorder? She has a disorder, an actual medical issue, and y'all are treating her like she's doing the poop on purpose. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for wearing my wedding ring to my sister's wedding against her wishes and hijacking her night? My sister, female 29, got married last Saturday. The ceremony was beautiful, and I enjoyed myself as much as someone who is famously not a wedding guy could. The dramatics were not quite as enjoyable. I, male 27, hadn't seen my family in a few months, and we've only had a handful of phone calls over the course of those months. It's never on purpose that I pull one of these disappearing acts, it's mostly out of habit. I've been fiercely independent for most of my life, and I get easily caught up in whatever I'm doing at the time that makes it hard for me to remember to keep those not in my direct line of sight in the loop. My mother is the same way. It's also nice visiting around times when big events like this are going on, as my mom is prone to hovering whenever I'm home, and this takes some of the spotlight off me. I had been in Ireland around 8 months prior to flying in last Thursday. I was originally there to spend 2 weeks with my best friend who, thanks to the aforementioned one-track mindedness I possess, I had unfortunately grown apart from within recent years. Ours was a friendship that had started since we were 14 and was one of the most important relationships in my life for over a decade, and I wanted to put more effort into it so I didn't lose it. He was spending time overseas to reconnect with his heritage since his father's passing. I was already traveling, and my stay obviously turned out to be a lot longer than 2 weeks. It also turned into us getting married. Funny how life works out. About 2 weeks before our trip to the States for my sister's wedding, I sent out a mass email to close family letting them know that me and my husband were married. I wanted to assuage any possibility of us stealing any thunder right from the get-go. My mom replied that she was hurt that she wasn't told sooner or allowed to be there, which I understood. It seemed her mood flipped by the time we met in person, however. Rehearsal dinner was on Friday, and that was where we all met up for the first time. My mom was overjoyed to see me and my partner and spent a large part of the night telling stories about how she had always predicted there was something different about my friendship with him compared to others I was close with in high school. It was a very sweet moment. But at the end of the night, my sister pulled me aside and asked if we would not wear our wedding rings to her ceremony. I was confused, so I asked why. She said I was taking the attention off her, and she was already bitter that I hijacked her rehearsal dinner. More families might take notice if I wore my ring tomorrow and caused a similar incident. I refused. Like I mentioned before, the ceremony was beautiful, but she didn't speak to me for the rest of the weekend and we ended up leaving the reception early. Am I the idiot? You're the idiot. You were married for 3 months and you chose to announce your marriage just 2 weeks before your sister's wedding. Then her rehearsal dinner became you and your spouse's debut not only as a couple but as a married couple. I don't think people's lives should be on hold, but I do think that when it comes to milestone events like a wedding, the guests of honor should have the entire spotlight to themselves and people shouldn't take away from that. You had to know that handling things this way was going to take attention away from your sister's big day. You're the idiot for deciding that your one-track mind is just how you are and that you're not responsible for communicating with your family or planning things that include them. Emailing them to tell them you were married is so exclusionary and impersonal. I get that not everyone wants a big wedding, but you could have had a small party or at least made a phone call to your parents. From what you say, it's not that they were abusive. You were just lazy. That said, I don't think you need to not wear your wedding ring to your sister's wedding. Your family's first time meeting your husband is going to naturally have a bit of focus on him regardless of your jewelry or lack thereof. Should have thought about this weeks ago and had a party to introduce him then, but it's too late now. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.